Yo, it's Remember the Show. Slick with the flows, where the sparring can go. Who's gonna be on, man, you never will know. Guess you better tune in, cause we live from Chicago. Belal Muhammad, that's the king of the tweets. Jason Anik looks like John, step his hands to his feet. Every Thursday, we gon' give you a treat. It's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat. And retweet, and retweet, and retweet. And retweet, it's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat.
Oh, yeah. Episode 118. I'm kind of liking this three-man booth. I think I can get used to this three-man booth. You know, UFC got three-man booth. We got a three-man booth now, and Remember the Show. What is up? Always my privilege. Cody, my sound okay? My sound okay, boys?
Yeah.
That sounds good, yeah.
All right. John got a new studio. Yes, yeah. Whatever I heard just went away. But what a privilege for me to be joined, as always, by the UFC's #1 welterweight contender, Belal Muhammad, and the coach of the year, one of the best coaches in all of combat sports, I can say now, not just mixed martial arts, Eric Nicksick. Welcome back from Saudi Arabia. We will start with you. Congratulations, bro. What a night, man. You didn't win, but what a night.
Yeah, he lost the boxing match but won the fight, you know, so I couldn't be happy for our guy. And, you know, Coach Dewey, Markel, the whole entire team, man. It was a beautiful night and a celebration for all of us.
I love it, man. Well, I couldn't get enough of seeing you just on his shoulder, that calming influence. And I know he's like family to you. So that just so special for us to see you there with him. Didn't necessarily get to hear everything in the corner audios that we would have liked. But, you know, I'm used to you just dominating the mic at those MMA events. But Bully B, man, what is up, brother? Such a pleasure to see you in back-to-back weeks, man. So much love for you, man. How are you?
My brother, you know, always a great distraction to talk to you guys. Freaking seeing E here now, and the doubters, everybody that doubted, hated on you guys. It's a beautiful thing when you get to prove everybody wrong, and just saying how happy you guys were, because I could see how genuine it was, especially for like Francis when you guys put up the what's it called, the bag. He dropped the bag.
Fumble the bag. Fumble the bag.
I started like busting out laughing. I was like, man, it was such an amazing thing, right? Because I think it leveled up everybody. The whole MMA world grew from that fight, and it just made us as a whole that much better. Like people always say, Conor McGregor raised MMA to a whole new level. Now I think Francis Ngannou doing that to Tyson Fury raised MMA to a whole new level.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it's so much of this MMA boxing crossover. It's been like, as MMA fans, you know, remember like T. Woodley, you're just like, man, it's like I felt like we won. I felt like MMA won. You guys did it for us.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you guys more, man. We all felt it too. We felt the love from the whole entire MMA community. Everybody was pulling for us. You know, I even heard from guys in the UFC that were like you know, employees from the UFC that were happy, and people that were pulling for us, you know, and it's just a feel-good story all around, and it's nice to know that your guys paving the way and hopefully changing that landscape for the rest of the fighters to come.
I love it. All right, so Cody, we'll get into the topics here today. I like E being with us right off the top, right? So we're going to get some stuff. You can throw some stuff around at us, E, too, but me and my man Bully are going to be in New York City doing extra rounds, UFC 295. Man, Bully, it's going to be so nice to be distracted by MMA. I just got to be honest with you, man. It's like, it's just been a crazy time. And it's, you know, when I think about Belal Muhammad in my life, getting to know you over the last 3 years, fighting has been a big part of what I've thought about with you, right? And I haven't thought about Belal Muhammad, the fighter, that much over the last few weeks, to be honest with you, you know? So I'm excited for us to go to New York and sort of be in the belly of the UFC. I wasn't with you in Abu Dhabi, but we'll be doing extra rounds. Dave and Buster's right after the ceremonial weigh-in. Me and my boy Belal Muhammad, little extra rounds. It'll Remember the Show Friday night after the ceremonial weigh-in. So it should be fun, Belal.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, especially the card. I think, you know, people are still upset about the main event, but I'm excited about this main event. Sergey and Aspinall, co-main event. And then you have the Alex Pereira against what's called. It's going to be a great fight. I think the whole card's going to be great. You got Jerry Flash Gordon on there. You have anybody on that card too?
No, we had Roman Dolidze. We got bumped to Austin, and then now we have no, like, he doesn't have any fight at all now. So everything's kind of changed for him.
So he got bumped to no opponent?
Yeah, we initially had Derek Brunson. That fell out, and then we had Jared Cannonier for the Austin card, and then Jared unfortunately was hurt, and so Roman went back home now because he just didn't have a fight lined up, so he went back to Georgia.
Oh,
so you're going to be home?
The year?
I'm going to have Puna out in Austin, but I don't have anybody in New York.
And how's Puna looking?
Oh, amazing. He's been looking great. Yeah, it's a great style matchup for him
too. Dan's like posting stuff like teasing stuff that he has to fight, but I don't think they've announced anything, right?
Yeah, he doesn't know. We've heard a couple rumors and some ideas on who he might be fighting, but Dan is always ready to fight. The drop of the hat. He just give him an opponent and he's ready to go.
Well, I love him managing himself, right? So he could he could put out whatever he wants, or he doesn't have to talk to anybody else. Bully was sitting right next to him when he got the last offer. I love it. But anyway, it should be fun to be there and for us to do a little broadcast. And obviously, Belal, you'll be there with Jared and everything else. You will not be in Jared's corner, correct?
No, yeah, I'm not gonna be in his corner, but yeah, I'm gonna just be down there supporting him. Hopefully, we'll get some. To finally get rid of that nasty taste in his mouth, right? The last year has just been such a bad luck for him year, where it's a bad decision to Paddy Pimblett, and you have a headbutt by Bobby Green, then you get a Jim Miller cancellation fight, and you're like, what the fudge is happening to him? But I think it's on him. Now he's always wanted to fight in New York. He's from New York, never fought in the Garden, never fought in New York, and now you do it on the biggest stage. I think it's a good matchup for him. Mark Madsen. I like that matchup for him. What do you think about it?
I love the matchup for him. To be honest with you, Mark trained here for a little while, so I know him pretty well and know some of his strengths and also the deficiencies. So breaking it down and knowing Jared and the way Jared approaches his game, I think there's some areas of that they can exploit, and Jared should have a pretty good fight, in my opinion.
So, Bully, I have to ask you this. Sorry, I forgot to ask you this off the top, right? So, and I hope I'm not revealing anything too personal. So when Belal, you open his phone, it says discipline, right? But Belal also has a sweet tooth, he likes sweets, right? So for me, right, I've been tearing through Halloween candy over the last couple of days. I got two little kids, I'm eating Reese's peanut butter cups it's just free protein bites, and it's just not. But for you, Bully, right, I know how disciplined you are. I've seen you out of camp, take a bite of a dessert and then push it away. So, Bully, what has Halloween been like? Have you cheated at all? I know your discipline outweighs your sweet tooth.
Dude, literally, I wasn't expecting there to be a lot of trick-or-treaters. Because, last year we really didn't get a lot. So then my mom and them bought candy for her house. So I just grabbed a handful of stuff to take with me to my house in case somebody knocks on the door. And I literally got 6 trick-or-treaters. And then by the last one, I was out of candy. And I was searching the house for something. And I literally found a candy cane. I was like, bro, I can't get a candy cane from Christmas. I literally started scrounging. And I was going to give him a Bully B shirt. I had a t-shirt. And I was going to give him a shirt.
Awesome.
I thought they would recognize me, but then I ended up finding some packaged cookie at the bottom of the cabinet, and I was gave him that, and I was like, please, no more knocks. I hope there's no more knocks at the door. I'm screwed at the end of it.
I love it, but there'll be if there was Halloween candy sitting at your house though, Bully, you're just not touching it. Am I wrong?
No, I'm gonna have to give it. I have to give it away. Anytime I I always have the fights at my house, and they're always bringing cookies, this and that. And, I'll just go drop it off at my mom's house. My brothers will smash it. I'm that's my biggest issue. Or even if I do have it, I hate wasting food. So I'll put it in the car and I'll take it to the gym because I'm gonna keep it there instead. Me and Lou, when we were in Abu Dhabi, we bought they're camel cookies. Do they have it in Saudi Arabia?
I didn't see them.
They're these there's stuffed cookies. They have their stuff with Nutella, Biscoff, pistachio. They're fire. And Lou bought 6 boxes home from the box. They only have them out there. And dude, they're $30 a box. So we spent $150 on cookies. Yeah. And then, I had a couple. Then I was bro, I took them to the gym. I was I have to give them away. I can't do nothing with these right now. Because if they're in front of me, I'm at max.
Dude, I'm always so fascinated with Belal because he's asking me to send him pictures of desserts when he's cutting weight and in camp. So I'm always, but you got kids. You're definitely munching on a little candy, no? You're in good shape. But
not really, man. I'm the same way. If I do, it's a slippery slope.
Yes.
I was handing them out and my wife goes full bore and gets the full size candy bars or that house, and I'm like, dude. Yeah. And then I'm just eyeing these Snicker bars and Reese's and everything else. And I'm like, bro, this is tough, especially when I hadn't been training a whole lot. I've been jet lagged, so it's easy when you're in a state of just where, one candy bar won't hurt you. I was vulnerable.
Food in Saudi, were you guys just eating at the hotel or were you guys getting invited everywhere to try new things?
So everything was taken care of through the hotel. They had a restaurant downstairs, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner was all comped and taken care of. But there was also some other restaurants on the hotel site that you can go and check out. You just pay for on your own, which we did because it was nice to kind of splurge and go out and check out new things. And then, we had our own like security team. We had our own cars, whatever we wanted to do. So we would just text the security guys and say, hey, we want like to check out this mall or this restaurant. We'd hop in the car, they'd send us wherever, and then they would wait and we would eat and hang out. So, dude, it was red carpet treatment all around. Definitely going to be part of the future of what I think MMA is going to be looking like. Will be out in Saudi. They took really good care of everybody, and get used to going out there, boys, because it was a lot of fun.
Didn't Francis get gifted like a crazy watch or like a car or something like that?
2 of them, bro. 2
watches or 2 cars?
Jacob and Co. got him 1 watch, the company itself, and then the Sheik gifted him another watch the night of the banquet that we had with like every freaking combat athlete that you'd ever admired in your entire life was there. It was amazing. Like you look from one side to the next and you're like, oh my God, that's the who's who of boxing and MMA and entertainment for that matter. He gave him one of the Jacob and Company watches that night as well. So he got like 2 probably $100,000 watches on 2 separate occasions.
Dude, it's nuts. Bro, nuts. Bully, how much money is young LA paying to be on Fury's ass all night?
Dude, that's crazy. I was like, yeah, I'm like sending him the picture. I'm like, dang, you guys really, really leveled up with this one.
Dude, I tell you, that young LA.
You got lost, but sorry, bro. You guys should have been on Francis.
Yeah. All right, so real quick, moving along, APFC Milwaukee. So the following weekend, you'll be pleased to know that they're having Bully B and I back. So we're doing APFC 9, the 3rd fight night in Milwaukee. So Nate Diaz is going to be there, CM Punk, Chris Angel, Rampage Jackson, Frank Mir, Belal, remember the name Muhammad, in the cage. And of course, Showtime Pettis, but should be fun. I heard Belal, there's air conditioning in the building, which should be great for us. There was no AC in Hammond, Indiana last time we did this. And John and I sweat. So, but Bully, that should be fun. Another crack on the mic for us.
Yeah, literally, bro. The place was 100 degrees when we were doing that. Like, food on. Jason had to literally take his jacket off. He's like, dude, I'm not sitting there with a jacket because we were there like an hour beforehand and we're just dripping sweat. And then I'm just imagining walking out. I'm like, bro, what the? And Anthony's like, oh no, dude, we got this big fan. I was like, what the fuck is that big fan gonna do for us?
Right?
It's steaming hot right now.
Nothing.
Yeah, I've been to the one.
What would you rather have, though, freezing cold or hot like that?
Bro, it was crazy. But like the Milwaukee one is a way better arena, so I'm like, I'm more comfortable with that one. I'd rather be freezing cold than steaming hot. Like I hate especially if I'm wearing a suit. Like I had to wear the suit. I'm like, bro, I can't take my jacket off. I'm like see-through right now.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts. But for all of us, right? Eric, Belal, me, it's like we're all getting reps in this talking space in different ways. You know what I'm saying? So for us to go there and call these fights, I do a football show with John. We get off it. He's like, yeah, bro, it's fine. You just say, He's like, just shut the fuck up instead of saying, and you'll be all right. So,
there you go.
So we're all learning here, but getting reps is good. Next topic going to be fascinating to talk to you guys about. So Ian Gary was on the Anik and Florian podcast a couple weeks back, just talking about how he travels all around to go to different camps, right? When he went to see Phil Rowe a couple months back to train for Magny, he hit him up at midnight, comes down with, I talked to Phil Rowe about this, comes down with his whole family, just sort of up there. And Phil was cool. I think ended up cornering him in the fight. So Phil was cool. And I think it was good. But maybe overstayed his welcome. Leon Edwards doesn't want him around Team Renegade. And I will say, and Belal, I'll get to you first, but it was interesting to hear Ian Gary talking about bouncing around to different gyms and talking about, he gets to his place. He's the best where he is. He can beat all those guys. So he likes getting different looks. And it was very interesting for me to hear that, but I can understand the other side of it, Leon Edwards. So Bully, what are your thoughts on both sides of this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I know Ian's one of those guys that like to get around. I like to cross train a lot. I like to move around, train with new guys, get new looks anytime I'm anywhere, or especially Vegas, working with them, because like when you have a good personality with all these coaches and a good relationship, you get to see their mindsets, because every coach has to bring something new to the table, and new ideas, new things you could learn from them. And I think Ian's doing a good job of that. I could understand it because I think their team came out and said he wasn't right fit for our team. I know when I talk to other guys about him, I've heard that he has his own specific style and he only does certain things at the gym. So, I mean, if he's not doing, if I'm a visitor at a gym, I'm going to do, hey, I'm warming up with the team. I'm stretching with the team. If the coach is talking, I'm paying attention to exactly what he's saying. I could feel like he has a cocky attitude where he's probably doing his own thing. These guys should be catering to whatever I'm doing. And I don't know. I see him as that type of mindset. And if he comes to my gym with that type of mindset, I definitely would want him there. How do you deal with, obviously you guys get 1 million visitors at your gym. What do you do with those?
Yeah, you nailed it. You're upfront with the standard, right? Like, and if they don't understand the standard or the rules or the kind of the way things are ran, then a lot of times they'll just do as they see that's best fit for them. But with that being said, it's like, hey, if you're going to be at our team practice, then these are our expectations for this practice. We show up 15 minutes early. You're prepared. You have tape. You have the right gear. All those things. You're hitting the checklist. You're warming up with us. You're doing the things that we ask you to do. And then once you meet that standard, then we have a lot of leeway. Like, you can be your own individual. Obviously, we have Sean Strickland. We have guys in here that are kind of their own individual personalities. But with that being said, like, we uphold that standard, and there's not really a whole lot of pushback when it comes to that, But I think you have to be upfront with that right away, because some people will come in, they just see other people doing their own thing, and then that's how they think that the system's being ran.
Yeah.
Would you like tell them like, yo, yeah, you're not a good fit here. We don't, or would you like?
It depends. Like, we're a democracy in here. So if the guys that have been here the longest, I'll usually go to the captains and say, like, to Brad or Ige or somebody, like, hey, what do you think about X, Y, and Z, and get input. There's people in this gym that I don't speak to really, or I don't get along with, but it's not my gym per se. It's our gym, and you have to set your ego aside on certain scenarios. But when you have a guy who is the face of your franchise, let's say, in Leon Edwards, he's the champion in that gym, that he might feel threatened by having somebody that's also, maybe moving up the ranks in that gym, and maybe he doesn't want to give away a lot of his secrets. I know AKA voted on certain individuals if they were to come, if they were to travel. Would you want this person here? And the people that are a part of that gym had the most amount of say. Whereas, like, we're pretty open doors for them for that matter. If there's somebody that's within the pecking order that you might fight, I might bring it up to that person. Hey, are you comfortable with this guy training here? And allow them to make that opportunity to voice their opinion. But for the most part, man, we're pretty open-minded gym as it is, and we allow a lot of people to come train.
I probably go ahead.
My bad.
No, go ahead.
The Hamza, like, he trained at your gym, and now obviously I don't know if it's secured or not, or being a next fight for Strickland. Like, how was he at your gym? Like, did they train together when they were there?
Yeah, a ton. I loved having him in the gym, and I've publicly said that. Like, he was amazing. He made us better. And I think that's the beauty about being able to allow people to come cross-train, is it gives you the opportunity to also learn from what other gyms and camps and teams are doing, or what one individual fighter is doing really, really well. And that's kind of my give and take when it comes to that. It's like, hey, when Whitman comes to the gym, Trevor, I'm going to ask you to show something. I'm going to ask you to get on the mat and be a part of what we're doing. And Hamzat, when you're in the gym, hey, I'm going to ask you to maybe show a thing or two, just so you're sharing that knowledge. And that's kind of like your gym dues, if you will. So yeah, I mean, those rounds were incredible. Those guys were great training partners for one another. And I loved having Hamzat in the gym, and, it's part of the business. These guys are probably going to have to fight here, and it is what it is, but that's what makes it, to me, the most interesting part about it.
Yeah, Cody just brought up a good point in the chat too. You're in Vegas. You're in the belly of the beast. So it's not like ATT down here in South Florida has a lot of guys coming in town. But you have a very interesting personality, Eric. You, I think, are one of those people that can, and I've probably said this to you before, get along with so many different types of people. Like, I envision you, and we can even move on to Ngannou. I envision you explore you're going to Australia with Sean Strickland, right? And so you got you, who's everybody likes, who's always, you got this guy next to you, like, well, what the fudge is he going to say all the time, right? And then you have juxtaposed to Ngannou, who's really a sweet, soft-spoken man. When I talked to him about him being like your family, you guys are cut from very similar cloth. Everybody loves you two. You probably don't have to look too much to see what France is going to say, Yeah.
No, exactly. And I think for me, the being brought up under Randy, Randy was a lot like that mentality where, when he fought Mark Coleman train here, he wasn't going to kick him out of the gym. And I remember when Evan Dunham fought Tyson Griffin on short notice, and Tyson was like, no, we got to kick Evan out of the gym. And Randy's like, no, we're not kicking him out. You guys can train at separate times or on the opposite side of the mat. And so I think a lot of that mentality that I have now is definitely from Randy, and it kind of rubbed off on me. And that, Randy's was there. There's no secrets in this game. And if anything, give your secrets away, because it's going to only make you better. So, that was my mentality when it comes to it. And I'm generally, I was a service industry guy here in Vegas. So I'm a big open doors and high fives, and, you're all family to me until you're not.
I love it. Bully, ask him what. So in terms of the fight itself, because we didn't touch on too much of this, Bully, any questions for Eric about the fight itself?
Is it easier to corner? Like, what was the difference between cornering for boxing and then MMA?
It was a little different in the sense, or in this role particularly, I was behind Dewey, so Dewey was the head coach in the boxing side of things. So I just fed off of Dewey, allowed him to kind of take the reins in the corner, and then I told Dewey, when you're ready for me to speak, you let me know, and then I'll say my spot. So nothing really changed for the dynamic, if you will, just the roles reversed a little bit. And my role was more of a comfort role, a calming role to Francis. And then when Dewey said, hey, bro, what do you got? Then I would give him my intel on what I'm seeing or what I thought adjustments we would make. So nothing really changed other than the fact that Dewey just took the lead in the corner on those ones.
I'm sure you were very confident going in. There were certainly the handicappers certainly weren't giving Francis much of a shot, but as it played out and as you watched it, did it play out relative to, I bet John asked you the same question earlier, but was it relative to your expectations? Were you pleasantly surprised? What did you expect relative to what happened?
Yeah. We take it, like, I think people look at a fight as its entirety, we look at it as like in segments. We wanted to win certain segments and kind of see what we could accomplish within those segments, right? Like, here's what we want to lay out for rounds 1, 2, and 3 and see what we get and see how his reactions are going to be. And then we're going to switch our stance and see what we can get out of these little segments here. And then as the fight progresses, where can we add on and where can we combine all those segments together and kind of put that grand finale, if you will. So a lot of ways we're the conductor to the orchestra, and then we're trying to find where the instruments fit the best, what's working the best. Maybe it's just one instrument. That's the only thing that's working for us. But, as the fight went on, we were putting on a symphony.
I love
Did Francis have any, after the fight, like, oh man, I should have did more. Like, you're sitting there first time in your boxing fight, first time in boxing, and it's 10 rounds. You're like, I want to keep a little bit in the tank just for the 10th round or that. Like, after every fight, even at MMA, where I'm like, dang, I thought he was going to do this, or I thought he would have a little bit more of this. Did he have any of those moments? Like, dude,
yeah, I think you're right in the regard of, I think he did feel like he could have put a little bit more pressure and trusted his cardio a little bit more. I think the unknown of what a 10-round fight would have looked like for him, maybe going into 5, 6, and 7, he was like, oh, I don't know how my cardio is going to hold up. And then when we all saw, like, when he sat down, he wasn't belly breathing. He naturally opens his mouth. That's been something he's done his entire career. So it wasn't like he was just gasping for air. He were having great conversation in the corner. He wasn't hurting for air. So I think around 7, 8, 9, or 8, 9, and 10, myself and Dewey were just like, yo, bro, like, your cardio's on point. Let's go ahead and put that, put the volume out there a little bit more. And I think in retrospect now for us as coaches, it gives us a better idea on how we want to coach and corner, because we are so ingrained on looking for damage now for us in the MMA perspective, where, Tyson Fury won the boxing match, right? But if this was a fight, we definitely won that fight. And so we have to get better at understanding how it's being scored. I think will help me particularly, maybe not Dewey, but that definitely helps me. And bro, like, I didn't know what round it was half the time. I'm like,
right. I get it.
Like, it was just like, dude, where are we at? Where are we at here? I look over at Akamoto, because Brett was like actually in the corner kind of with me, and said, I was like, what round is it? He's like, I don't know. So definitely areas of growing pains for me in particular, and where I can be better. But man, all in all, everything went real smooth for us in the corner, and as expected, man, it's fun getting our guy on the stool and coaching him up.
It was so exciting just seeing Francis Ngannou in that ring. And as much as I like boxing, I don't like it near as much as MMA. And we got some UFC fights this weekend. So, Cody, let's get to Bully's Picks.
Wait, before you do that, I want to ask E about the incredible concert. What was it like having to wait through the halftime show prior to the fights?
Right.
Honestly, like, we didn't really feel affected by any of that in the back. Like, we were just a fraternity brothers back there joking around and dicking off the whole time. And they're like, oh yeah, you guys got to go fight here in like 10 minutes. Like, oh, okay. Button it up, boys. Like, we got to go back. Like, Izzy's back there chopping jokes with us. And like, the mood was so fun and so light that we weren't like, well, come on, man, what time we fighting? We were almost, it just felt natural to us.
I love it.
Does Francis do road work? Like how do you Like, what does he do for cardio? Like, being that big, I always wondered it.
He did road work quite a bit, but since the knee injury, like he did like jump roping a lot. But now it was a lot of the airdyne. We were on the bike quite a bit. We were on the bike a lot. Thankfully, like after he had a little procedure done on his knee like last April, he was able to run more, and we were doing a lot of hills and things like that. So yeah, for the most part, he felt fine.
How many times a week did he spar?
We did twice a week.
And were they like hard sparring match, or they like
they increased in increments as they went on? Like at first, we were doing 4-6 rounds like that, and then we go to bag work, pad work, and then it grew to 8 rounds, and then it was bag work, pad work, and then by the end of the camp, we were doing 10 rounds, straight, and then we'll do the bag work and clinching. That was one thing I really was happy with Dewey. Made that call on like, hey man, let's get like big guys, and we'll dirty box and clinch for a couple rounds after. So we just go literally like right into a collar tie position and just get heavy, because we knew that Tyson was going to try to get heavy on us, and we're like, oh, this is right in our wheelhouse, bro. Because I seen that dude's skinny ass legs, and I'm like, oh, dude, you're not going to be able to hold Francis like that. And that's what we do great. We're already good at dirty boxing, that clinch work. So we were hoping that he would initiate some of that, and he was going to feel us, as the rounds were going on.
Yeah, I was telling my brother that, I'm like, bro, like Fury still used to being the bigger guy, weighing on guys. I'm like, bro, he's not moving Francis. And it probably like broke him mentally. And then you could tell by the later rounds, he was even tired because he couldn't do it no more. And Francis was too much of a presence for him, just standing right in front of him the whole time. And did like Francis say any of the punches like hurt him at all, or like
nothing? Yeah,
like, bro,
he didn't even say the elbow hurt him. Like he didn't seem fazed by any of it, to be honest with you.
And that's why I feel like he'll walk through any of these other heavyweights. Like I think Joshua was talking like he's something. I think Francis will finish him. I think.
I love hearing you say that.
Yeah, that's the fight we want. That's the fight we would love to have. So yeah, bring him on.
Yeah. So like, is Francis back here, or is he like doing not a victory parade, but like parade in general? Like
he's in Cameroon right now. So he went back home. He just got there yesterday. He'll be at home for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then I think he's going to be back probably before Christmas.
So those 3-4 weeks, does he come back? He's obviously staying busy there, but would he come back in good shape for you, E, or what?
No, he comes back full of Cameroonian food, bro. I always make fun of him, like, bro, you're pushing 300, aren't you? He's like, yeah, good home cooking.
It's funny, man. I'm spoiled. I think everyone's like Belal, who just never swells up.
Yeah.
All right, Cody, you ready for that green screen yet? Fury off like a middleweight. I enjoyed that too. So we're gonna pick the co-main and the main event real quick. Neither one of these fights is that close on paper, so breakdowns maybe more than picks if we're not going to go the underdog. But John asked me to ask you this question a while ago on the show because he, John is very honest with me. Sometimes he's like, "Bro, this is what you got," So he wanted me to ask you back in the day, which up-and-comer is a bigger challenge for you, Gabriel Bonfim or Ian Gary? And this was a couple months ago, and I think it was right after Bonfim had won a fight. And John actually told me when you were in Abu Dhabi, you do respect Ian Gary and think maybe he is one of the tougher matchups for you. But I know for you, as we are now just waiting on the champ, you still have a great eye for these welterweights coming up. So this kid Bonfim will get to the fight, but between those two guys, Bonfim and Gary, which one do you find would be a tougher matchup for you?
I think, honestly, I think Bonfim. For me, I think Gary, people are like hyping him up, but I don't think he's really been tested like that, especially against any type of grapplers. He's picking his matchup very well, but I think Bonfim shows that he does have jiu-jitsu, he does have grappling, that he does have power. And I just see it in him a little bit more. I'm not saying that Gary doesn't, but I just see a little bit more in Bonfim where he has a little bit more weapons. Like Gary, I don't know. I think well, this next test will be huge with him and Luque, and then we'll get a better idea of it. But like just based off his Magny fight, Magny's not really much.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I just had to get that real quick. So Bonfim is scary, 15-0 as a pro, 2-0 in the UFC. Just chokes everyone out. Both UFC fights, guillotine chokes. Finished Trevin Giles most recently. That was UFC 291. Huge favorite here against Nicholas Dalby, 38 years old, but been around, won a lot of fights. He's making his 8th octagon walk. Won 3 straight, all by decision. Last win against Muslim Salikov. That was June 17th, UFC on ESPN. But Bonfim, 26 years old, really seems like he's entering his prime. I expect a ranking if he can finish this fight. Does Dalby have a shot, Bully, to make this competitive, or Bonfim sweep him up?
I mean, Dalby's been in there with some good guys, right? And he's been in, he's a veteran of the game, and he has a weird style. He does have grappling, he does have striking, he does have power, and he comes sometimes with the karate style, and it's hard to get a hold of him. I think for Bonfim, you had 2 quick finishes in the UFC now, so it's like, where's your mindset at? Now you're fighting in Brazil, so if he's going to come in with a lot of, he has a lot of hype, so he's going to come in with that type of mindset, thinking that he's unbreakable, unbeatable, then you are in a tough fight, we'll really see where he's at. But I just think that Dalby, he's been rocked a lot. And I think for the Bonfim, he comes super hard at you, and I don't think that'll leave an opening for Dalby to shoot on him, and then his neck's going to be there for the taking. So I'm going with Bonfim here for a finish, especially in Brazil. It's going to be too hard.
You. Choke him out again. E, you on the favorite here as well in Brazil?
I'm on the favorite, but I actually think that Dalby's going to make it a lot tougher and grittier fight than what the odds makers expect. In my opinion, I think he's a savvy vet. I know he's only lost 1 fight out of his last 7 or 8, which was against Tim Means, which was a decision. With that being said, I agree with Bully in the regards of, I feel like the prospect is the one that's going to get the win here, but I really do feel like Dalby can make this a little bit more interesting fight and maybe drag some you want to see your young prospect, you want to see him against a little bit of adversity. Maybe not see the adversity that you would see from one of these top other prospects, but a gritty, savvy vet like Dalby might be able to draw it out of a kid, and he might show you areas of improvement of where he can get better as his career progresses.
I love it. Great stuff, boys. And I also think so much can be gained from a little loss here and there. You know what I mean? Like, good luck with Ige next time out,
Yeah, right.
All right, main event, heavyweight division. Man, Derek Lewis. Like, I should have looked at how many main events is this guy, man? Dude, he's making his 28th UFC appearance, dude, and he prints money every time he makes that walk. You can be sure. So Almeida, just an enormous favorite here, though, which I guess understandable. So 19-2 as a pro. Just fascinating background, Bully. Back in the day, he was a welterweight, man, and up until 2016, So, but just finishes in all of his UFC fights, 5-0, bonuses in his last 3. Cody Merrow wants to put $1 million on this cat to beat Derek Lewis. But I've been talking about the depth of this UFC division for several months now, not only at the top, but a guy like Almeida rounds out the depth in this division a lot. I think Derek Lewis needs to be careful here. He did look great physically last time out, beating Marcos Rodrigo de Lima. That was a first-round knockout, Salt Lake City, UFC 291. He had lost 3 straight prior, though. Different level here in Almeida. I do expect Lewis will be in good shape again. But it feels like this may be one of the rare times where the crowd is not going to be behind the Black Beast, right? So, Eric, start with you here. Any chance for the Black Beast to continue to make magic, or Almeida continue to do what he does?
Absolutely. Derek Lewis has a huge chance to be able to make magic again. And I think just because of, the equalizer this guy carries in both of his hands and in his legs as well. Derek usually always comes out with something flashy right away, and that was something like he's been doing. When I broke him down years ago when Roy Nelson fought him, he comes out with something heavy, throws something awkward, a big switch kick, a flying jump knee as we saw in his last fight that Almeida needs to be aware of. And again, so the thing with Derek, and especially a lot of heavyweights, is his routes of his get-ups, right? Like he has this kind of big man get-up, and that's something he still utilizes over and over and over, which will be tricky against a guy like Almeida, who will jump on your back and utilize that to start to cement some of those rear naked chokes in and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see if he does get taken down, what routes he uses to get back up, and if he's smart in those positions. This being a 5-rounder, you've seen Derek down. You've seen him lose to Curtis Blades the first couple rounds and be able to find that uppercut to go get a finish. So Almeida is the A side here. I think Almeida takes his fight to the ground. And I think when you watch Almeida and break him down, he's very smart with the segments of his ground game. He doesn't rush position to position. He stays there until that position is expired, and then he moves on to something different. So he cooks those positions, is my point. He'll utilize his ground and pound and make you scramble in positions to where you'll give up a choke, you'll give up an arm bar, things like that. So Almeida needs to be smart, and I think this is a great fight for him to show that he's grown as a fighter. If he does that, I think he gets the win. But if he gets reckless, it's a wrap. Derek will put you to sleep.
I just love the human being, Derek Lewis. He always just has this positive energy surrounding him. So I love it. Cody just said it's his 8th headliner in the UFC. Just unbelievable. Main event, Muhammad. Your time's coming. You'll get to 8. We know. So, Bully, you like the favorite here too, or is Black Beast going to make some magic?
No, like you said, Derek Lewis, he comes with weird stuff, and he's super athletic. People take that for granted because he's so big, but like you said, he'll jump at a flying knee or a flying switch kick, and you're like, where the heck did that even come from? And we saw him against Curtis Blades, where he was just waiting for that uppercut. And I think Almeida's more of a shooter too. He's going to shoot on your legs, and that's going to leave an opening for Spivak with upper body with them and took him down that way. I think that's more of the type of equalizer for Derek Lewis. Like, he'll get way down from there, and they kept just breaking him down. I think Almeida is one of those that he has to shoot on you. So if Derek is just waiting for that one moment to catch you with something, it's possible to catch him. Do I think it's going to happen here? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that being a short notice fight for Derek, I doubt he's working on his jiu-jitsu. I know he said he's the purple belt, but I think he's just going to get taken down and try to explode up, and that's just going to leave one opening for Almeida to latch on to something.
So both guys like the favorite. All right, before we get out of here, Belal, just isn't as amazing? No fucking buzz, excuse my language, for the welterweight championship of the world in December. It's like, I don't hear nothing. Only thing we're hearing is Leon Edwards doesn't want Ian Gary in his camp. Right? No buzz, Bully, man. Come on, man. You would be blowing this out. Dana, am I wrong, Bully?
Yeah, man, we still got a lot of time. The last 2 main events of a pay-per-view gotten canceled, so we're staying in the gym. We're staying ready.
Exactly.
I feel like we're going to get that call.
No Halloween candy, so we're good. Anyway, we love the 3-man booth here. E, thank you for joining us and being a part of us. And I put on Twitter today, we need a name for this segment. I want something creative, okay? We're not just going to Ray Longo Minute, fine. We need something creative. So we appreciate you being with us, Bully. Great to see you, brother. Just so much love. I want to just put love into the world because there's not a lot of love out there right now. But for Eric Nicksick, the coach of the year and the #1 UFC welterweight contender, Belal Muhammad, Cody Merrow running the show in the back. My name is Jason Anik. We'll see you next Thursday, 3:30 Eastern. Now remember the show. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Later.